Hey there, horror fans! Today we're diving deep into the dark and twisted world of Nightbreed, specifically Annastasjia, a fascinating character who went from riches and glory to rags and crime. Her story twists through the glitter of Hollywood, dives into the abyss of tragedy, and wraps up in the eerie haven of Midian. In a desperate bid to reclaim her lost beauty, Annastasjia undergoes an experimental skin graft that goes unimaginably wrong, leading to her face literally growing into another conscious being. Yeah, you heard that right. She's got a whole other entity hitchhiking on her face. So without further ado, let's get started. From actress to freak. The 5th issue of the comic begins with Lude, the half-demon, telling Cabal, aka Aaron Boone, about the various Nightbreeds. In the movie, Boone was schooled in the laws of Midian by Dirk Lylsberg. However, in the comic, he asks Lude to go easy on Boone and not bombard him with the knowledge he is not yet prepared to deal with. Lude looks through books in Midian's library when one of the books falls on the floor and splits open on the page with stuff on Annastasjia. Boone remembers her from the reruns of movies that his grandmother used to watch back when Boone was still a boy. Boone remembers the former actress by her face but doesn't seem to recall her name, which is when Annastasjia herself appears in the library. She was a beautiful tall woman wearing a long gown and a headscarf that also covered the right side of her face. Of course, we know what was up with her face, but at the time Boone did not. It was story hour at Midian, so Annastasjia proposed who better than her to tell her tragic tale of woe. The next panel takes us to Hollywood, California in the year 1926. At Seraphim Studios, Annastasjia was shooting for a movie. From the get-go, it was clear that she was a proud and strong woman. I mean, when the director addressed her as Annie, she immediately corrected him, bluntly reminding him that her name was Annastasjia. She moved her trailer after the shoot, but was not quite happy about the state of affairs as far as her film career was concerned. You see, she was tired of playing some ignorant prairie girl. She felt she deserved more challenging roles, maybe Lady Macbeth or Hedda Gabler. Later, she gets invited to the film's wrap party, and being a woman who likes to have some fun after a long day, she went to the party. The host, Ronald, offered her a drink, and like a woman of culture, she asked for a whiskey. Neat, but that's not all she wanted. Annastasjia set her eyes on this other woman at the bar. When her man left her side to visit the loo, Annastasjia swooped right in, introducing herself and taking advantage of the fact that this woman was Annastasjia's fan. She even kissed her hand during the conversation, but by now the man had returned. She knew that the actress preferred women to men, and he was not planning on becoming Ross from Friends. So he immediately pushes Annastasjia back and asks her to keep away from his woman. But Annastasjia was quick to anger. Unable to take the insult, she punched the man's face. It not only hurt his jaw but seriously bruised his ego too. The man's girlfriend tried to intervene, but Annastasjia was in no mood to let things go. She kicked him in the crotch before being escorted by Ronald out of the party. However, the man she had just heard grab a bottle and broke it in half before slashing Annastasjia's face with it. The right side of her face had been damaged beyond repair, and being an actress, her face was possibly the most important part of her body. Clearly, the woman was devastated. In the next few panels, we see Annastasjia visiting a doctor who was supposed to be the best surgeon in all of Los Angeles, but even he could not bring her face back to its former glory. Disappointed in his work, she stormed out, telling the doctor that she was going to find herself someone who knew their job. The next one she found was not your typical doctor. He was more of a psycho who used skin tissue from a live man named Nassim to graft on others like Annastasjia. Yep, you've heard that right. Naturally, it wasn't gonna end well for her. The grafting gave Annastasjia another face on her head, and it could speak to her. In fact, it could get into her thoughts. Hell hath no fury as the scarred actress. The so-called treatment went horribly wrong. The skin graft from Nassim started to grow in her face, forming a living, conscious part of her. This grotesque transformation was beyond her control, and her attempts to rid herself of Nassim were futile. Driven by vengeance, Annastasjia took revenge on Barry, the man who disfigured her, and the doctor who grafted Nassim onto her. Realizing she could no longer stay in Hollywood, she fled and eventually found solace among the outcasts of a traveling circus. These people, if they could be called that, accepted her without judgment, but tragedy struck again when the circus was wrongly accused of murder. The ensuing violence by the townspeople decimated the group, with only a few, including Annastasjia, escaping to the sanctuary of Midian. In Midian, Annastasjia found a new purpose. She entertained the tribes of the moon, the residents of the Midian, by reenacting her favorite movie roles. This audience, far removed from the critical eyes of Hollywood, accepted her for who she was and provided her with a sense of belonging in a way to relive her past glories, albeit in a vastly different context. Marvelous verdict. So yeah, that was the story of Annastasjia, a woman who spiraled down a path of murder and revenge. All she ever wanted was to live life the way she wanted, but fate had different plans for her. In the end though, she did find her purpose in life. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.